Oh, okay. It looks like that's fixed now. Sorry for that. Little technical mishap on the OBS setup. So, welcome all for tuning in. I'm going to use this time to make some refinements to the the thing that's been getting a lot of attention lately, shinycal, and hopefully make some user experience things a little better. So I realize some of you may have tuned out after that technical mishap, but we'll let you all trickle in as we go. So I'm gonna get my stuff set up here. So, oh, Big Pod, hello. Yeah, this is very late for you. I'm shocked you're here, but good, nice to see you, or virtually see you as always. Let me kind of get going here with my setup. Bring in the chat window. Yep, that part's working at least. And let's get going here with what I want to talk about today. Show our browser here. Kind of show what I'm thinking of in action. So some of you have seen the current version of shinycal. It's been getting a lot of nice attention online, so thank you very much for all of that. But there's definitely some things we can make better here. First, we see we only have 2 inputs here. We gotta add more here to get more customization. And everything here is just basically one color in all these entries. We've we gotta fix that up a bit. Oh, nice, working on your C# web app. That's cool stuff. Yeah, you've been doing lots of good work there. I have to catch up on what you've been up to. But definitely get your rest for sure. So what I want to do in the time I have tonight is to add a little more customization to this calendar, make it a little more better user experience. And also I saw those that have been using this to kind of check out when things are happening in their time zones, that the time zones aren't quite mapping up to the way I like. So I think I got to fix some time zone issues on the left here, and maybe find a way to let the user choose which one to see instead of forcing only 2 of them here. I try to do it the widgets way that Toast UI is doing, but I think I've got to maybe give a little more control to the user again, and maybe even figure out a way to automatically know what time zone they're coming from, so that I can adapt that into here and make it easier, kind of at the default view. So we got a few things I want to do. I want to maybe start with the easy ones first, and then we may get to the harder ones later. I think the first step is to work on the color changing, where we'll have a default based on the data set that this is importing. Now I have a separate repo for that. There is an option that I've given for each person on here to have their own preferred color, but maybe I want to let the user that's running this calendar also change it up. So hey Tan, welcome. Great to have you here. So we're going to do some UX enhancements to shinycal, and then just make it a little more polished before I really get to the cool stuff that I want to extend this with the brochure package and letting people get onto this a little easier. So that's the goal for today. So I think the first step is let's work on the color stuff and maybe add an input to change the color for the entries, both at like everybody level, but also if say you only select one of the people here, if you want to just change their colors on the calendar, you can do that too. So I'm gonna see what I can do with that, kind of a minor thing, and maybe also fix this thing where we click the entry and then the video shows up below. I'm not the biggest fan of having to scroll down for it. It's kind of awkward, so I may shift that to the right side maybe I don't need the full width for the calendar part on the app here. So hey, Unicorn Coder, thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. So let's get to some refinement here. Let's flip the bits here. See if my VS. Oh, good, I remembered it. Okay, good. When I had OBS crash, I wasn't sure what the heck was going on. So hey, RDR fan, welcome. Thanks for joining. So first step is the color thing. So let's get to my R directory and let's get that module up here just to refresh our memory on where things are. So okay, I talked about this when Jesse was yeah, so we are going to work on the toggle for colors, but what's cool about VS Code is if we do some color stuff, we'll be able to toggle it in the editor itself. So there's some cool stuff. I don't think I have that in this module yet, but we're about to. Yeah, I remember I saw it somewhere, but I think that may have been an earlier version of the app. So I will, oh, I had that somewhere. Maybe it was another file. I do want to show that because that was pretty snazzy. It should be in my my helpers. I kind of remember there was something I did with colors here. Cal viewer, yeah, it should be here somewhere. I've done a lot of tweaking here. Yeah, it's not here. I'll find it later. But what we want to do now is in the module for the calendar itself, let's put in a better color picker. So let's first figure out where we're going to put it. In fact, I should need to take my own advice. So I talked about this on Jesse's stream earlier, but one cool trick in VS Code is you can open a file twice. And what I like to do is on one side, look at the UI portion of the code. Now on the other side, look at the server side, so that if I'm doing some inputs, I can match them up and not get confused about the names being forgotten. So that's what I'm going to kind of do over here when I add a new input. Now, first step is let's see if I have that package here. I don't think I have it installed. Nope, I don't. But we are going to install one of my favorite, you know, small yet powerful packages. I'll pull it up on the web view, and then I'll put the link in the chat window here. Go back here. That would be Color Picker. Color Picker is by one of my better friends from the Shiny community, Dean Atelli. He was doing some streaming before. I know he's been busy with other things, but I want to use this package because it gives me that widget right out of the box and very easy to put in Shiny. And he does a great job with his packages. So you can kind of see, you'll get a little widget here. You click it, you'll be able to get your color. You get the hex coding of it. And that's about it. So if you want to look at that package for yourself, I will put that here. Okay, there you go. And then we will go ahead and throw it in the app. Now the first step is we need to install it. Now I am using RM for this, so that's why I'm not doing install.packages. I'm just doing the RM install package function. Oh, it's just one word here. That should get. Oh, it's just install. See, it's been a while since I did this manually. There we go. Should be going to the, yep, getting to the package manager, and good. Got a few dependencies here, so you can kind of see here. We got isoband, farther, labeling, color space. So we got lots of, oh, ggplot2's here too. All right. Now, when you do an app as a package, in order to make sure this package is available when you deploy it, if you have a description file, like I'm about to show you here, you want to make sure it's included in your imports section so that when this is deployed on, say, Shiny Apps.io, it'll know to install all the packages here. But obviously you don't see color picker here. So it's easy to use this package. You just do use package and then just throw in color picker. And then magically it goes here at the bottom. And then the last thing I do is I snapshot this in RM so that it goes into my lock file. Oh, I haven't... Oh yeah, that's all the dependencies too. So you can see it throwing all these in here. So let's just throw those in. Easy does it. Now we're good with that input, or that package I should say. So we definitely want to keep the view type. That's important. You want to toggle between week, day, and month. That's like one of the biggest things I use when I just look at this myself. But I think we can probably throw it right next to here, and then we'll not have a bunch of white space in the middle there. So let's give this 4 column. 4 width is good enough. And then we'll do our namespace. So say cal color. Maybe that's a little misleading. I was just saying in Jesse's stream, I'm terrible at naming things, so I want to distinguish this as like the entries. So I'll just say entry color. I can type. Not a big deal, but all right. And GitHub Action or GitHub Copilot is saying, I want entry color. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Oh, what am I doing? I didn't do the input yet. Oh gosh, it's been a long day. All right. Color input. That would have been embarrassing. Okay, I'm gonna throw that back up here. And then that. Okay. Let's see what else we need. I admit I forgot, so I'm gonna hover over here and look at the help interactively. Now the value is of course the default value. I do want to make it consistent. Well, actually no, I can, you know what? I can have fun with this. I can pick it myself. But here's where VS Code is going to show its one of its fun things here. Now I am just going to put in. See, I think that is. Is that? Did I get the... Oh, I'm not sure if I did too many zeros. I wanted to get the color picker up here. Maybe I have to... Because usually it'll show it afterwards. Let me save that. No? Okay, let's... I'm going to find an HTML color code. See, I told you I'm pretty bad at this... other web design stuff. I just want one code in here to trigger that picker in VS Code. Let me just throw one in here. Come on, give me the... Okay, yeah, let's just... I don't care how ugly it is, I just want something to start with. And then we'll throw that in the VS Code. Hold on, let's see. F1C40F. Rats, it's still... Maybe I need the pound sign in front. Oh, that's bad. It's not... I'm gonna go back to VS Code and show you all. Usually what it will do is it will have a color little choice here, but apparently it doesn't. That's okay, we'll just... Oh, there it goes. Okay, so... If you see this little yellow box, now in VS Code, I can interactively change this myself and have it updated in that field. I think that's a really cool feature. So I'm not sure what to start with. We'll do a kind of maybe a lighter color. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just do that. Okay. So now we've got a default here that's pretty legit. We may just keep the rest of the defaults here. And then, now this is where the split view comes in. We're going to save this, but I'm going to scroll down here. And we are going to do something with this color eventually. And then we're going to take a tip from, I think it was Lisa on Jesse's stream, who also does some Shiny developer kind of live streams. She had a good tip. If you're going to not lose track of what that output is going to have, a cool thing you can do is just do a placeholder for the output object, and we call this entry. Oh wait, what am I doing? No, scratch that. It's been a long day. This is not a plot output, so forget that. What we want to do is we probably want to look at the value being changed in some output, or just have a message that shows it. What I need to figure out is if this is something that can be changed as via a proxy thing, or if it can be, if I have to refresh the whole data set. So let's see. Let's go back to the docs for a second for Toast UI. So if any of you haven't watched the earlier shinycal streams, we're using Toast UI as the R package that wraps the Toast UI JavaScript, which gives me the calendar widget. And the team at Dreamers has cal proxy stuff, and that's like the preferred way to change certain UI things on a thing that's on your Shiny app that's on the UI side of it, so that it doesn't have to refresh the whole thing. So I'm wondering if there's any guidance for what you can do. Okay, so you can use arguments from calendar, cal month options. Let's see what calendar options we have. I'm looking for something with color here, but I'm not seeing it here. Now it might be in one of these, like cal month options. No. Maybe cal proxy view? No, that's what I used to toggle the view thing. I'd hate to have to refresh the whole data. That to me seems like a harsh thing to do. But this here calendar theme, that might be what I have to do. I might have to update the theme object, or the cal theme, call to it, and change the background. So I feel like it's going to be this thing here, the common background color, given the notation here. But I need a way to do this whenever they change the color, if that makes sense. So, okay, I think I'm talking myself through this. So what I want to do here is I want to have an observe event based on the color choice changing. And then that's going to trigger another call to the theme function when the calendar's displayed. I think that's how I want to do it. Sounds reasonable to me. Kind of like what I do here. If you see in this observe event on the right here, when I toggle the view option, we run this cal proxy view thing. So I want to do a similar thing, but do it for the color, and hence the theme of the calendar. So I'm going to add some comments here to denote these different sections. Change, or let's say update calendar view toggle there. Now keep that straight for me. Now we're going to do another one. Say calendar theme, or just say cell colors. Now the observe event is going to be based on the input of the color picker, and that's going to be entry color here. Okay, and for now, I just want to print a message to show that this works in the console when I run the app. I admit I'm kind of paranoid about this part. Because it's an input thing, I just say color equal. If I'd save this as a variable, I could probably just shortcut the glue package to do it, but I'm still a little paranoid about that stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, the other annoying thing for me is I always have to toggle word wrap on. Not by default yet. Okay, so that should get me what I need. And then we're going to run the app and see if this all... not that. All right. Let's save it here. And I'm going to move this over here. We'll run it. And scene. What did I forget? Unexpected symbol. Oh, well, duh. Then close the parentheses. It's either closing brackets or parentheses or missing commas. 90% of my shiny errors are because of that. Eventually, I'll be better with that. And bad naming things, that's another one. Now what? Unused argument? I thought it was the default. Did we not read that right? Okay, let's go back to that. Oh gosh, what was I looking at? I'm not sure how I got default there. It's value, of course. Most of the shiny app inputs, you call that as value. Oh, that's another. Hide and seek champion. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's see. Okay. So, nothing fancy up here, but let's go ahead and tweak it here and make sure it shows up in the console on the lower left of your viewing screen. Yes, it does, so we know we're registering it. Yep. So the calendar's not changing yet. We haven't plugged it in yet, but we're just seeing all of this, making sure that it's working. So it's definitely working there. Now we've got to connect it to the entries. So good, we got the basics going. Now we just need to go back to server. And so since I've kind of finished the UI part of that, at least for now, I'm going to go ahead and close that here, move it back here, and we'll get our full width again. All right, so you know, one thing I get better at, maybe in another stream, is using the logger package to have more cleaner output of debugging when I do a Shiny app. Because I actually have a colleague of mine help plug that in for one of our bigger apps, and I just haven't done it for mine yet. But I have examples, just haven't done it. So I'll comment the message out for now, and then we're going to go ahead and try updating the Cal theme. Why do I feel like this could be a mini disaster? I don't know. I'm a little... Let me look at how I structure things for a second. So we have Cal display DF, but then render calendar is taking this. Okay, I remember I was thinking about this on the other, like maybe a couple weeks ago. This thing here should be its own reactive, because I'm going to have other things updated that aren't necessary proxy things. So it's time for a little refactoring. Let's hope I don't break things terribly, but we'll find out. Yeah, I need to comment this thing better. Reactive for calendar object. Okay. we'll kind of keep the same prefixes. And then we're going to move some of that stuff that was down here and move it into its own reactive. And hopefully that doesn't mess things up. We shall find out. So basically everything here can go there. Okay, let's see if VS Code mangles my copy paste. Oh, if I only got it right. Okay, it's almost as finicky as like when I cook like a meal for breakfast and I let it be on the pan too much, I'm like screwed. This thing is kind of like that when you copy paste in VS Code. Okay. So we've got cal display obj, and then this should be simply the require the reactive, and we simply reference it again. That's how it's supposed to be anyway. Alright, let's give it a shot. Get our run dev script back up here. So let's do it. Okay, it still worked. So just wanted to make sure the refactoring didn't totally destroy it. Let's make sure the yeah, the toggle of the views definitely worked. All right, cool. Now it's time to do the real magic here. So in theory, what this should do... Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. No, this won't quite work the way I intended, because, or maybe it can. Maybe it can. I'm making things hard on myself. But you know, I probably made this too hard on myself. So instead of doing this in an observe event, I can just do it in here. So this is cal theme. But the observe event was helpful for at least seeing that things were happening when I changed the input. But easy enough just to do it in this part. I'm going to copy all the defaults from the help file of the Toast UI package. Now, see, this time it didn't do the copy paste right. Okay. Now here we want common background color to match what that input was. So what I like to do in these cases, let's just make sure. I'm not sure if this will work in the way I'm thinking of. Because that background color did not look like the color that we have in the main calendar, but we'll find out. So this is going to be entry color. Now for here, because we're depending on that input as well, I want to make sure I require it here. Just in case. It never hurts to have Rex in there. Alright. Let's see. Well, ha! So they call it background color for a reason. That's not the one I wanted to change. That's some bad greenish, kind of like making your eyes bleed kind of thing. So yikes. Okay, we know that's not the right way to do it. Yeah, like mint. Yeah, good call there. So let's see, where was I? That was over here. So we don't want to change the background color. That's obvious now. Now, oh gosh, what did I just do? I deleted the wrong one. Okay. Put that back. Well, comment out the other one. Holiday, Saturday, day name, common today color. That looks like nothing of what I want. So perhaps these themes. Well, okay, I'll show you where. So in the help file for the theme function, it basically farmed out the real details to the JavaScript site, or the widget site. Now, this is giving you a lot more detail here. So what I want to see if there's any month, day, grid cell, day. Month, holiday, except this month color. Day, except this month color. Huh. Okay. We'll try one of these. Let's see what happens. Nothing horrible can happen, I hope. Go back to code here. Gonna throw that here. And we'll see if that. Interesting way they name that parameter. Alright. We'll find out. No. That definitely wasn't it. So it's definitely toggling things, but that was not it. Wow, this is really crazy. Day except this color. So that was changing absolutely nothing. Okay, so this may not be the way to go. The reason is that in order to how I got Athens entry to be a different color, the data that I have is that I use in the oh gosh, what did I just do? I forgot my keyboard shortcut for commenting code out. There we go. That is actually using the source data, and that is coming from over here. So in fact, what I should do, let's take a look at this together. We may have to update the data coming into that viewer instead of updating the theme of the calendar itself. So at least we gave it a good try to see how that other piece works. So let's run the app again, and we'll get to the browser and we'll do some exploring here. Okay, let's view that. In fact, let's instead of viewing that now, let's run the cal sub 2 pipeline here. We'll view that up and see what we got. Okay, let's. So the color is here. So notice for Afton, it's populated, but for everyone else, it's not, because she was the only one that wanted a different color, so I made sure I gave it to her in the YAML file that her metadata is coming from. But for everyone else, I want to add a default color if it's not set. And where's that input? Where's that default color going to come from? Well, you guessed it. the UI widget that we just plugged in. So it's just more about some data processing here. Then I think we're in business. So we'll have that available to us, but we can at least get out of the... We can at least start writing some code here to prepare ourselves for this. So this will be requiring that input. So now we kind of have to do this. Well, let me think here. I want to preserve if the streamer has a color in their data that I'm coming in with. If we have that input where they select their name, I want to preserve that as the value for the color picker. So that, interesting. I feel like I'm making things too complicated. Maybe that's another thing. Let's just do it here first. Okay, so this is going to be, we're gonna say, actually we should do it here. We're gonna do a mutate here. And what that variable is called BG color. And then we're going to say if that is missing, we want that to be the entry color. Otherwise, keep the same value. So let's see if we have that available. Yeah, we do. Okay. So let's just see if this works first. My mutate syntax worked here. We'll view it again. We'll see if we got that right. Okay, let's scroll. Yes, we did. Now, if you're wondering what the color is versus BG color, color is the color of the font. And so because Afton wanted that nice teal color, black didn't look very good on that, so I used white for the font. Now that's going to be a little tricky because if I just default to white for every font, we might have some not very readable things. So guess what? I think we're going to need another color input for the font so that the user can change that if it's not rendering very well. Okay, we'll work on that later. We just want to make sure that the BG color is here. And then now what this is doing now is that on the initial render, it's going to take that default color, but I don't really want this to fire here every time that's changed because there's no need to like rerun everything else. So it seems like maybe it's good to do this on the default entry, but I don't want this to, I'm making it too hard right now. Let's just make sure this works. Okay, I feel like that should at least get us moving. Whoops. Let's see if this does the trick. I have all these like design ideas, UX ideas in my head, and sometimes I don't know which way to go first. A tricky problem, especially when I deal with it in the day job. There was I was somewhat joking, albeit not really joking, that I've been working on a big app at work that has like probably over 30,000 lines of code, and it has like at least 18, 19 modules. And there was one customization that I didn't think anybody would want to do. And it's like a variable for a simulation in a certain part of the diagram. And if I just anticipated that like last year, my life would be a lot easier right now. But I've had to reconstruct half of the modules because of that. And ooh, sheesh, that's been rough. That has been rough. But it definitely goes to show you that you wanna get feedback early and often from not just developer mindsets, but also the users that are going to use your app, because you never know what they'll think about. And if you're so knee deep in development only, you can miss it. So learned that one the hard way this week, actually a couple weeks ago. Okay, good news. We do see the entries are changed here. So let's change one over here and make it a pink. Yep. Okay. So am I happy that it's rendering everything again? Not really, but it's pretty quick. It's good enough for now. Now the issue is well, this is an interesting choice here. This is kind of a design choice. Maybe I'll keep it this way. But if a streamer tells me they want a certain color, like Afton did, who am I to let anybody change that? So maybe it is for those that don't give me a color, then it's fair game for people to change it. But if someone has, if Afton wants teal, it's staying teal for now. So maybe I'm okay with this initial pass of the feature, that it will not change the other entries that actually have a color predefined. We'll see as other people get their hands on it if they agree with that, but I'm going to go with it for now. Let's make sure it's preserved in these other views. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. All right. So I feel like that's good enough for now. Now I kind of want to keep the observe event here, even though it's not doing anything. There may be cases that I might need this later. So nothing's really happening from it. It's just doing nothing. But it just kind of a placeholder in case. So we should do the same thing for the font. I do think I need to address that. So, okay, split view time again. So, oh gosh, I forgot to change the width of this. No wonder it was going to the next row. That was bugging me. This doesn't need to be 3. Do 3 for the color pickers here. Do another color input. This one is going to be font. Well, I don't know if this will be a good name or not. Now for this one, yeah, I like that. Okay, I'll keep that. I want to tweak what they can select here. I want just a few choices. I don't want the full spectrum of a color picker. So I believe there were some options for that. We want limited for the palette. Okay. I'm going to limit it for the palette. Now, for now, what was the param name for the allowed cowls? So I think that's what I want. So by default, it lets you do 40 colors. Okay. So I really, sorry, it's not that, not value. What am I doing? It was, what was it called again? Allow cowls, okay. I basically just want white and black, for now. We'll make white as the value. I think names will work, but we'll find out if anything breaks. Okay. So we got 4, 6, 10. That will be... I have to change the width later, but okay. Let's just make sure we got that working. Move that over here. Okay. Oh, that doesn't need to be 4. Yeah, we'll minimize that. But yeah, okay. Yep. I've got white and black here. Yep. Everything's still working on this side. Okay. So now, just like the logic we had in the other part of the app, or the cell entry, we want to do the same thing over. Yeah, I'll display the app, yep. Just another mutate call. In fact, you can probably copy most of this and just change the oops, wrong key. Color. And this is, yep, make sure the names are consistent. Entry font color, make sure that's required as well. Cool. Got 2 mutate calls. Alright. Let's see. Yes, look, it did do white for these. And then we switch. Good, good. Then we change this. Yep, and that's obviously when you want white. Okay. Cool. Seems like I got some good theming stuff happening here, at least for the entries. So view type, entry. Maybe I need to change the labels a little bit. Yeah, good enough. This does not need to be 4. 3. We probably need to move, this is one of the more important inputs in my opinion, so I want to move that over here, like it was before. Okay. Alright. Nice. Let's just make sure that is expected, and then we'll move on to the time zone stuff. We're moving along. Okay. Oh wait. No, that's just because VS Code is making it squished. Okay. That's more closer to 1080p there. So that, yeah, that's looking pretty nice. Now, the other choices I have are, do I keep the calendar at full width here, like the the 12 columns, or do I push this down to 8 and then have on the right side another set of things? So maybe we first just see what it looks like when it's 8 width and see if that scrunches things up too much. That's easy enough. We'll just change this to 8. Then okay, I'm ever so creative with these placeholders. Let's do it again. Okay, now for this one I'm going to do is I'm going to open it in the other browser. That's definitely 1080p right now. Let's look at it and see how it looks here. So, let's just change the font color and there we go. So, I think that's pretty good. Still pretty decent space in my opinion. You definitely have enough space when you go to the day view. Week view gets in the month view. Yeah, seems like we're pretty good here. Hi, Hui. Hope I'm saying that right. Welcome to the stream. This is R, and we're creating a web-based application with the Shiny package within R. So I've been an R user since, okay, let's do the mental math, folks. 2005, which would mean it's been about 16 years. I'm not old at all. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of application development in the last few years at the day job, combine my other duties over there, and so I've been trying to share some tips and tricks and do some fun stuff in the open because I can't share 99% of what I do for confidentiality reasons. So yeah, hope you're enjoying it, and welcome aboard. So yeah, I'm liking this. I think we can then use this right side as to put some other content, whether it's those video players or some other things when they select a streamer. Maybe it gives them more information over here. I don't know. I'm just kind of playing with this a bit. So okay, let's happy with the layout. So let's go back to the code. We gotta commit some stuff, otherwise I'm gonna lose track of things. So I need to figure out what branch I'm on. Oh, I'm on master. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I always like to do a feature branch when I do these things. So I'm gonna call this entry polish. Okay, now we're good. I just want to start committing things before I forget. So what we did first earlier is we added the color picker package. That's good enough for that. Don't worry about this DCF file. That's an artifact when you deploy to Shiny Apps IO, and I don't want to version control that nonsense. Afton, hello. Welcome back. As usual, you always end up having a bit of play here in my demos of shinycal because you thus far have been the only one that requested a custom teal, and I made sure that in the tweaks I just did, nobody can change that. So I don't know if that makes you feel any more special or not, but you're an awesome streamer, so there you go. So okay, let's put this in here. The cal viewer changes. So we add color pickers for entry and font color within calendar. Yeah, rainbow. That would be that's maybe another feature request. We could do rainbow. Okay, so what I want to do a better job now with these commits is that now we've successfully done prototyping stage, right? I mean, that's what we did a couple weeks ago when we deployed this live after I fixed all those package installation issues, which if some of you saw my tweet earlier about, if you all saw what I was doing earlier today, it was kind of Docker dependency insert name of fiery place. I can even show you a little bit of what I mean later on. That was rough. But anyway, now that we've been past this prototyping stage, we want to start making sure we're treating this as if we're updating something that's already been released, even if in an early form. So what I do in my day-to-day is first we gotta bump the version number of this thing. We're definitely not at version 1 yet, but you know what? I'm gonna call this version 0.3. Let's just call it that. And then what we also should do is we should have a news file for here. Now, in Golem, as Tan can attest for sure, I always plug Golem in all my streams because, wait for it, once you go Golem, you never go back, at least for me. I want to take advantage of their dev scripts. No, I don't want to move it. They have nice little use this calls. Oh, they don't have it in, yep, there it is. I want to add a news file. Because we need to start keeping track of things. Alright. News file. Where'd it go? Here. Yep. So if I use this is awesome. It populates the beginning of it. Wow. User to change the calendar entry back. Where it is. That's font color. I'm gonna have to say placeholder margin for new elements. I think that's all we added. But I do wanna. There's like when I do the news files for these, there's like the UI kind of changes, and then there's like the backend changes. So the backend change. Reactive components of the calendar display. Okay. Not many people are going to really care about that, except if you're a real shiny nerd like me, but I always like to call that out. Okay, so that means now we've got description and news updated, but there's also one other place that Golem wants you to change things, and that would be within the inst folder. The YAML file. Whoa, wrong key. I always hit that on my new keyboard. So we want this to be 0.3 as well. Okay. So that means we've got 3 changes here. Put that in. And I'm so creative with this commit. Bump version, update news. I always do that. Okay. Okay. So, to kind of live the lifestyle of being pretty agile and changing things incrementally, I like that. I think we've got what we need. And then we're gonna push this up as a branch. So this is cool. VS Code. Oh, you won't see this on the stream, but in any case, we're about to do a new branch on my repo, and we're about to PR it to myself. That sounds kind of backwards, but time for story time with Eric and version control for a second. So let me get to the repo. Not that one. Okay. So, not everybody agrees with me with this, but I definitely do branches for almost any new thing I do. because if something goes haywire on master and you push that up, or main, you know, whichever of the two you call it, it's so hard to fix that after the fact. But with a branch, it's like another safety check to say, okay, if this thing really went haywire, just blow away the branch and do it over again. Now, we just verified that the calendar worked in my dev setup, so we should be okay for merging this in. So let's go ahead and do that. And the way I treat these pull request notes is that this is like a kind of like a pseudo development diary for me, so that like months down the road and I look at how I incrementally built this app on top of maybe even rewatching my own streams, this is a way for me to, in words, figure out, okay, what was in this PR and why did I do it? Yeah, for deployment of Frank Ria, welcome to the chat, or the stream. I do have thoughts about deployment. Let me talk through that for once I get through this. So I'm going to keep that, the heading of that PR as customization of the entry font color, a background entry color, and font color. And this is where I was telling you, Afton, about this. If a user already has a predefined background color in the streamer metadata, it will not be changed if the user selects different color. Because I'm nice like that. I'm a nice guy. All right. I want to have a little fun with this. I now do emojis in my commits. Or okay, so I think we got that. Okay. Now there are no. Now, of course, there's going to be no merge conflicts with this, but the thing I want to do for this repo eventually is add continuous integration and continuous deployment, i.e. CI/CD. I've got ideas for that, and I'm eager to try that out. Okay, let's merge this in. Now, speaking of deployment, here we go. Obviously, here I did not hook in auto deployment yet. So we need to do that manually for now, and I'll have some thoughts, as I say. So back here, go back to my file view here. What we did before, a few weeks ago, is we wrote this deploy script. And what I did in the initial deployment is I added the Shiny Apps IO file, which what that really was just an app.r file that is in essence 3 lines of code. It's just using Golem to run the app. Well, I kind of did test it already, but if you insist, yeah, we can definitely run it one more time. Let's see, where did I put that run script? Oh, now I've got the view all haywire here. We're done with this. Yeah, I just want to show you what that was. Let's make sure one more time everything is snazzy. And by the way, off stream, I did add a link to Jesse's blog post. Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, the GitHub action. I know, it's coming. I added a link in Jesse's blog post where she had an awesome roundup of everybody. So that way, it's all right here for people to see easily. Okay, so let's get back to deployment. That's going to clear out this, too many things open. There we go. Oh, I must have closed it by accident. Okay, get it back. Okay, so because this is a fancy container setup, I have to authenticate Oh my gosh, that was totally not my right keystroke. Authenticate to Shiny Apps IO dynamically. I have to run this bit here. And you are not seeing my secrets, folks. No way. All right. So then we're just going to redeploy. Oh, thank you very much, Durepslow. Thank you very much. And then we will go ahead and deploy. Okay, while we're doing that, let's talk about deployments while we're waiting for that. So now, best practices, I think, are the following. First, if you're working in a team environment, make sure there's kind of like one point person for deployment. That is step one. You don't want to have multiple cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, about that. The other thing is making sure that you have at your disposal. Now, this doesn't happen for everybody. You don't want just one deployment target. Ideally, you would have 2 or 3 instances for deployment. What I do at the day job is this. We still have Shiny Server Pro, but it won't be for very long because that is getting phased out. But we actually have 3 versions of Shiny Server Pro. We have one that's called Development. That is where the Linux team that I work with, they're like my best work friends, if you will, is that team alongside my colleagues in my immediate group. Because when they and me work together, we get stuff done, folks. And they speak the languages I speak with Linux and R. Just like, I love working with those people. But anyway, we developed this a while back where for the dev server we have, it is tied to a master or a main branch on a GitHub repo, so that every time I push to that, like I just did here with shinycal, every 5 minutes or so it checks for a new update to that branch, and if it sees an update there, it will deploy it right away. We tell people that for prototyping deployment, start with dev, but keep in mind that dev server is actually a little virtual machine. It's not meant to be the production stuff. We then have a QA server. That's a separate server, separate VM, if you will. And we don't let people deploy to it unless they do the following. We only let them deploy to that if they tag a release in GitHub for that particular version. So actually, we'll go to the web here, and I'll show you what I mean. In fact, we'll do it here. Let's kind of imagine I was doing that for this project. In GitHub, there's a concept of releases or tags. So what we do is we tell teams to choose or make a version. Whoops. Sorry, I'll create a new release, yeah. So we're gonna create a new tag. This is why has this changed since I last looked at this? Okay, I guess I need to type in do.3. Okay, yeah, they changed the UI on this on me. Okay, and I'll just say shinycal 3. The first actual tagged release of shinycal. And what I like to do in these release notes, let's open a new tab here. I like to copy the news file for that relevant version and just kind of put it in there. So I'm going to do the raw. Copy it here. And if anybody has more faster ways of doing this, I am all ears, but this is just what I do at the day job. So, okay, so that's good enough. So I publish this release. So in this situation, I'm not going to do anything fancy. But back to the QA thing. What we tell people is that, okay, you need to tag it up in GitHub, and then send a request to our Linux team to say, okay, I'm ready to deploy a new version of my app to the Shiny QA server based on this tag, and we ask them to give a link in GitHub to the tag. And then that is, after that request is submitted via an IT ticket, the Linux team will take that and deploy the Shiny Server Pro. So just making people go through a couple steps of A, the app has to be in GitHub, B, it has to be tagged up, C, they have to actively request it. That helps make sure that they're actually serious about this app getting into production. And then we ask them to treat QA as if it was production. It has the identical Shiny server installation, and ask your users or your fellow team developers, just go to town on that, do all your testing, make sure it's working, and then if that works, then we ask them to make another request to go to Shiny production server and fill out any documentation that you need depending on what we call the validation level of the app. So that served us pretty well. Now, things get interesting when you get to RStudio Connect, which is what we're using now. RStudio Connect, as most of you are aware, lets you deploy from RStudio server by default anytime you want. Anytime you want. That's both good and bad. If you use it the right way, it's good. But here's the issue, though, is that people could take shortcuts and deploy an app that frankly isn't ready for production, and then it's still available to everybody. So we haven't quite ironed out yet how to navigate this, but we may do a similar thing as we do now with Shiny Server Pro, where we may actually end up having 2 or 3 instances of RStudio Connect. I don't know yet, but we're going to expand it with some cloud stuff later on. But then we might put more rigor on getting the production deployment there. So that was a long-winded explanation to say that I think forcing users to get into version control, be diligent about their changes, making sure that's tracked, and having some kind of process for them to go through to get to that production step, I think is the best use. And the other thing I'll mention, this is more of the development side, I see no reason not to use renv unless perhaps you're doing a Docker-based deployment thing. Then maybe you don't need renv. But for my day job, we actually don't use Docker on our Linux servers because they prefer a system called Singularity instead. So I can't even do this fancy Docker dev setup at the day job for like my deployment things. But if you are using Docker, that would be a nice step to encapsulate all the dependencies and have a a more transparent process of how you're keeping track of versions of packages and things like that. And certainly handing off an app, like Tan says, when you're doing it in Docker, you're just handing off a Docker file basically with a repo. They can't screw it up unless they actively change that Docker file and do some nasty stuff to it. Then the dev environment's the same, the execution environment's the same. There are no surprises. If you're deploying to a platform that supports Docker, you're in good shape, for sure. I want to make sure I get back to Afton's. Okay, so you're using in-house system with Docker, Jenkins, and Kubernetes. Yep, okay. So I feel like that's the new way of going around this down the road, is that most things I'm working on have Docker or some kind of container tech heavily involved in not just the development side, but the deployment side. So if you're out there listening or watching and you don't know much about containers and Docker yet, I know it's a little hard to get used to, but once you do, you're going to be set up pretty well for success for a lot of these issues that you get. So I would definitely recommend Oh yeah, Shiny Proxy. I was going to get to that. Yeah, so in Shiny Proxy, it actually uses Docker under the hood for the deployments of apps, and that's been interesting to watch. I actually played with it once because I was trying to share an app that we did at work, and not just share the code of the app, but to actually share access to the app on AWS with Shiny Proxy installed, and then giving them a secure URL or secure login credentials, and only they could access the app. We got stupidly close. In the end, it was out of our hands because their firewalls at that organization wouldn't allow them to visit our AWS instance, and I was like, spent a lot of time on that one. So I actually know a lot about Shiny Proxy now, for experience, and it's intriguing. Don't get me wrong. I think it's I think with the right admin to it, I think it could be powerful. So, oh, okay, so you're using that, Tan. That's cool stuff. Yeah, yeah, you can hook it to a lot of things, I think, and I do like the container methodology of it. I always feel kind of odd talking about Shiny Proxy because I realize they are, in essence, a competitor to the RStudio suite of deployments. But of course, I don't work at RStudio, so I can talk objectively about this stuff. I think it's great to have choices in this. And then some people get really fancy with just their own custom AWS setup, which I've also done in the past. That's a little more trickier. But I do think container-based deployment is the wave of the future. But if you're not there yet, just set yourself up for success with controlling the dependencies, controlling version control, and having one point person on the deployment side, or like one maybe team on the deployment side that knows this stuff pretty well, so that they know how to, look at issues if there are any system issues. But you definitely want to make it as easy for the teams that are supporting you for deployment. So like I take great pains to make sure that if there are any like system dependencies that my app has, or some cryptic C library or some cryptic system thing in Linux, that I call that out to them, and I make sure they know to be aware of it so that they're not surprised by it. So be nice to your admins, folks. They need all the help they can get with dealing with all the other issues, especially at my org, that they deal with. So anyway, I don't know if that helps or not. That's my initial thoughts on it, but we will, in a future stream, talk about some other deployment options besides just Shiny Server IO. But speaking of which, let's make sure ShinyCal did actually get deployed. So that's the wrong version of the app. Let's refresh this one here. Let's see. Loading, and yes it is, and we've got more great stuff here. Obviously that's probably not something I want to keep there much longer, so we're going to tweak that here. Make sure that's something here. What we may do is we may move the video over here when they click it instead of below it. So let's do that. Let's knock that out of the park. All right, go back. Code. All right. So we're gonna not save the changes to my deploy script because I don't need to have that. So let's do a new branch. Let's do it through here this time. Great branch. I'm gonna call this video layout. Okay. Docker jail. Well, okay. Well, oh yeah, I teased this. Let's look at what my jail was today. So you heard me say I love using RM for all the things, especially my containerized setup here. I do have one project at work where I actually can't use RM for it because I have to kind of mimic this being an R package that's going to be run on our quote standard installation. So I have to kind of mimic the standard installation, which means that I'm not using RN for it, and I'm installing packages kind of like what you see here, right? I use in the rocker image, it comes with these, let me get the word wrap here. It comes with these helpers called install2.r or install github.r. These are like R scripts that you can execute via like a shell command. And I put all the packages I want in here for this other project. But one thing to keep in mind is that this dev setup that I have here is using RStudio Package Manager, specifically the binaries of the Linux packages, instead of installing the packages from source. Why did I do that? Because if anybody's used R on Linux before, you know that compiling things like anything from the tidyverse, or heaven forbid, stringer or stringi, get yourself a coffee or juice or your favorite beverage because you're going to be waiting a while. But these binaries install super quick. So I didn't change that. I mean, I'm keeping the binary package installs here. Here's the problem though. RStudio Package Manager is not smart enough to pick up if you have a package that depends on a system library. Case in point, the iGraph package. That depends on some Linux library for iGraph. It may have the same name, it may not. I remember it was kind of odd. But if you don't know that, and you just write your Docker file to install these packages, and then you try to load the package in your Docker container, you are going to be greeted with, wrong, you can't load it. Oh, pack, yes, that comes up a lot in Jesse's streams. From what I know about pack, does pack install system libraries too? Because if that does, I'll seriously take a look at it. But I thought pack was just trying to make our package installation from source a little easier. So if I'm wrong, please tell me. I would love to know. So the bottom line of this is that I was doing this for my work project using a setup much like what you're seeing here on this stream. But I missed a bunch of these system dependencies for these other R packages that the package I'm working on depended on. Yeah, I do have a description file, like I do here as well. I mean, I definitely have those. But okay, now you're ringing a bell here. So, okay, I know what I'm going to try next time. I'm going to try that out. That would be interesting. Okay, I wonder if I could use that in a Docker file, like we use pack, get the initial packages installed, and then run pack on that if I'm doing a container based on the package. Okay, I will try that, Tan. You may have cinched it. Oh, thanks for the follow, Hasso0315. Yep, thanks for that. Much appreciated. Okay, like I said, mental note to self, I will try out pack maybe later this week or next week. So I may get on the pack train after all. I've been not resistant, I just didn't have a real need for it yet, but now I think I do. So to make a long story short, I missed the iGraph dependencies, I missed a whole bunch of other ones, and this Docker file did take a long time to compile because Docker on Mac is terrible. It's very slow, and it just took a long time. So I had to basically, every time I missed one, I had to go back, save the Docker file, and would install all these Linux packages again, install all the other packages again, and it would take like a good 5 minutes or so before it was all said and done because this Docker file container was pretty complicated. So I was just like, yeah. So then I just used over that time waiting for it to compile to do other stuff. Okay, so yeah, I will try pack next time. I have a lot of people that probably want to know about that capability. So okay, container ran over. Let's get to the viewer here. This is going to be very basic, not radical here. All we're going to do is we're going to move this over to the other output, or the other column here. 30 lines to 2 lines, huh? Yeah. That is cool. Yep. That I love hearing about these stories. They're from the trenches. They're awesome. Okay, looks like I need to have a chat command for pack. Jesse's got that nailed already. Okay. Now the only thing that might need to change here is, if you're noticing here in my render UI for the vid container, I hard code the width and the height. Okay, good. It wouldn't be a stream that Afton watches for me without an Afton-astic pun. Alright. Alright, let's see. Now, I'm a little worried about this. I'm afraid I'm going to have to deal with the size a little bit. Let's see how it looks. Yeah. Okay, let's check that. Oh, I forgot. It doesn't work in VS Code. We found that out last time. Good thing I'm in the basement. Otherwise I'd be in trouble already. Okay, let's go to the app. Okay, let's click. Okay, so it's kind of hard to tell here, but you do have to scroll a little bit here. I'm not the biggest fan of that. So we might make this a little smaller. But it is there. So at least it's there. Okay. So let's tweak that a bit. Okay. Back to here. By the way, for more of an OBS trick, since I'm kind of all over the place tonight, the best thing I have to switch scenes and sources is this little guy right here, the Stream Deck. Fancy stuff, but it's well worth it. Makes my life easier. Okay, so let's figure out the size issue. Okay, so I feel like there was a site I saw where it kind of gives you like the combinations of width and height and pixels that mimic 1080p, but I forgot what it was. I'd like this width to be responsive too, but I don't know how to hook that in yet. But for now, I'll just maybe do 600 by 400. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, open that up. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, good news. I don't really see a scroll bar here, so I did condense it good enough. Okay. Yeah, good enough. What I may do in the future is I might add a little button here that lets it like pop. Well, I guess you could. Oh, you could pop it out externally just by clicking the Twitch thing here. Okay. So I don't really need to add a new button here. And I know the chat thing's masking it, but you can see here. I'll resize the. I can't resize the window. I don't want to mess up my setup. Okay. It's good enough. Let's tweak the heading, and then we're gonna be almost set here for tonight. At least I didn't get the time zone stuff. I admit I'm kind of dreading that because that's such a weird thing. Maybe I'll look at it for a few minutes. I don't know yet. Let's change our UI. You don't need to make that so big. Okay, let's see if that's too messy for wording. Should be fine. Alright, go back. Yep, there's Tan's awesome stream there. Similarity scores and cluster visuals. Nice stuff. Alright, good enough. I'm okay with that. You notice, yeah, time zones. Oh, gosh. You notice that I'm still haven't really styled this thing up yet. Like, this does not look as bling blingy as my Hotshot Racing Dashboard app that I sent Jesse earlier today. That's coming, but it's more about just getting the nuts and bolts of this working. So priorities, I tell you. So let's get let's get this up there. It's a very, very minimal change, but doing this incrementally makes me feel like I've accomplished something a lot more versus if I just waited until I did this huge PR. That's the way how I look at it anyway. So let's see, do I have any icky stuff in the code here? Nope, I didn't really change anything over to the layout and the size of this. I do want to make this dynamic. Maybe in the future, I don't know. We'll see. That gets into that whole JavaScript-y kind of CSS design stuff, which I'm trying to get better at, but I am definitely not. So this is an easy one. Move video to right. Incremental improvements. Let's get our news file up and our description up. Description news, and let's get that YAML. Yep. Is it worthy of a 0.4? Oh, it is to me. All right. Report. I remember there may be a use this function that updates a news file automatically, but I don't dare look at it now. Okay. Video. Spot. Right. To the right. Okay, like I said, not that fancy, but effective. Save our stuff. Okay. Yep, change it there, change it there, change it there. We're good. Add this stuff. That up. Okay, so 2 PRs and 1 stream. That's pretty snazzy. Go back to GitHub. Yep. Very simple PR. All right, let's get that boy in there. So Tan, not to put you on the spot here, but have you plugged in auto testing of a Shiny app in GitHub, or have you just been doing that with your R packages, like for the NFL fantasy football stuff? Because if you've done Shiny testing here, I definitely want to look at it. Because that's kind of like my next major nugget to crack. Oh, thank you, Jeripsol. Great to have you here. Have a good night, or whatever time it is. So, thanks for joining. All right, so we merge that in. We are, yep, we're good there. Time for the redeployment. Yeah, this is going to be kind of annoying me that I don't have it in CI/CD yet, but One thing at a time. Oh, at work. Yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, all that stuff is. What is that about? No, what did I do something wrong here? Try that again. Huh. Okay, well, that is the breaks of deployment, folks. Sometimes your deployment target just has some funny stuff, like when AWS hates you or something. Alright, well, let that move. While I'm doing that, the other thing I do is, I mentioned this like a while back, but I think it bears repeating. Even for just myself, I use the issue tracker all the time. So I'm going to make sure I jot down the responsiveness of the width height of video player. There we go. Yeah, I didn't get the time zone differences here, but we did resolve. Oh yeah, well, yeah, Afton's got that. I'll just make a comment here. As of PR number. User customize the colors of entries that are not predefined. Okay. Close that up. Cool. Yeah, I meant to do that. I just forgot to check it. I do that at work all the time, though. I love doing that. What Tan's saying is that when you write a commit, if you say like closes and do a £sign and then the number of the issue in GitHub, for that repo, it'll automatically close it. Okay, so let me do some pruning here. Well, we got the VOD stuff set up. Have the latest VOD up here. Let's metadata. Okay, so I'll keep it open. I just like to make sure I remember how to do that. Okay, so okay, well, since I'm thinking about the future here, I'm going to tell you all about my next idea. Convert. So we're going to convert this app to use the brochure package. That's a big one for me. The reason I want to do that is that I want to make still one default app for shinycal, but then within it, a couple sub apps. One for people to apply to have their entries viewable on this calendar, because right now, this is a good kind of recap of what I did off stream with the data. What I do now, if I go to the repos, we have a repo called streamer data. Oh yeah, you want to see what Nick? Yeah, I'll show you that. Let me go back and find that. I know when he did it too. It was hilarious. he was doing this right before he was about to raid about a few weeks ago, and then I suddenly ended the, or was this the one where I ended and he had to cancel it? I forgot, but he was doing this literally as he was about to raid. It was hilarious. Because I was literally in my screen just talking about the issue tracker, and he somehow grabbed the URL right on the spot and did it. So that was cool. Where was I? Oh, the other repo. Now okay, streamer data. Here we are. So what streamer data is this is basically all those functions that we worked on. We worked on for parsing the calendar and the Twitch API. I put them in their own repo, and we have a simple script called streamer data that basically does all that pre-processing that we used to do in this shinycal repo. And what it does is that via GitHub Actions, yeah, so many tabs. This is not as bad as my other one at work, because I didn't know how far I was going to get tonight, so I had to be prepared. What this is doing is that in GitHub Actions, it'll run through all this via mostly the Twitch R package from Coder Kyle, and then if it's running GitHub Actions, it's considered production. It saves an RDS file of the streamer processed data to what's the equivalent of an S3 bucket, but it's on a different web service called Linode. And I make that object publicly available. It's just an RDS file. It's got nothing confidential in it. It's just the processed Twitch data. And then the app, when it's run on ShinyApps.io, it knows to be in the production version of the app, and it references this RDS file dynamically when the app loads. And this GitHub action is refreshed every 6 hours. And so here you can see it's got all these runs. The last run was, 23 minutes ago. So there you go. So I think this is pretty cool. This is set up as what we call a cron job in the GitHub action, so that it runs this so that it catches all the updates that people do under schedules. And thanks to Coder Cow's great suggestion about maybe a week ago, I now properly account for vacation time in the streamer data repo so that it doesn't show up on the actual shinycal if they're in fact not streaming. Because in my tweets last week, I was saying, after Thursday, we got like 3 streams are going today. And then Lexi or Kyle, I forgot which, said, sorry, Eric, we're actually on vacation this week. And I was like, sorry, I didn't know. So now that shouldn't happen again. So hope not. I don't know. But either way, this is run every 6 hours. I need to beef it up a little more to be accounting for errors that could occur with the API, but right now I've had pretty good luck with it. But I'm at least got the runs, and I can always run it again if anything crazy happens. So yeah, that's streamer data. So now that is like my way of pseudo refreshing the data in shinycal without me having to do it myself all the time. So thanks to Tan for hooking me on GitHub Actions. I was nervous about it, but once I got the hang of it, I can even show you it here. It's really not that bad. The key was that I do it on both a schedule and on pushes to the main branch. And I have a bunch of secrets that are baked into the secrets section of GitHub. And then the steps are kind of caching the packages, installing renv, restoring the environment, and running my script. That's it. It is very much like a Docker file. That's a great point. So you can do like arbitrary shell commands, like what we're doing here. Install packages. And then, yep. I got a lot of this from one of the examples that our studio shared with their Shiny app CI/CD with RStudio Connect. There was a repo that they had for that, so I took a bunch of it, and I took some other examples that use secret stuff, and then yeah, it was pretty cool. So I'm happy with that. I was actually pretty pumped to figure that out because I had never used GitHub Actions before this, so I was excited. So okay, gosh, we've been going a long time, huh? Almost 2 hours. I didn't expect to do that. But let me think what other things I wanted to mention. No, I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm good. Let me make sure I have everything tidied up here. I'll leave that open. I'll leave that open. Yep. I think I'm good. I think we left it in a good state. So, in terms of what I want to do next with this, I mentioned the brochure thing. That's one thing I want to do. The other thing is kind of maybe look at some other data. I don't want to be like a one-trick pony, so to speak, and only do shinycal stuff. I got some other shiny ideas I want to do here with some data that I can pretty much guarantee that nobody in the art community, especially anybody that does content, say streaming or podcasting or anything like that, a data set or a set of multiple data sets that nobody has used before. And it's from one of my favorite things to watch. And I want to make some headway there. So that may be coming up sooner than later. But yeah. Yeah, I'll admit it might be a little polarizing depending on your viewpoints of it. Now, it's not political or anything, don't get me wrong, nothing about that. But it's a pastime that I have that kind of gets a bad rap among some circles. But if you take it for what it is, it's highly entertaining. And with a little sports flavor thrown in there. So you might call it sports entertainment. So some of you might know what that means, so don't spoil it for others that don't. But you'll see some sports entertainment-like data. No, it's not Golem. Trust me, it's not Golem. Golem might get involved later on, but it's not Golem. But I've been wanting to do it for a long time, so I've got ideas. I admit, when they first started televising that, I did actually watch that a couple of times. And what's that guy's name? Joey Chestnut is like the champ of that. But every time after I watch it, I feel nauseous because you look at how much they're throwing it down. It's just like, whew, you know, I want to enjoy my hot dogs, not feel like I'm going to gag after seeing that. So, yeah. I had to see it to believe it. I've never been to one of those live, but I remember in the old days before I went to college, we would watch that. Yeah, exactly. They do all this weird tricks that literally swallow it down, and I'm like, yeah, I've different. And what's interesting is that most of the time, the people that win this, you would not know they do this kind of thing by looking at them. But yeah, anyway. Well, I can't confirm or deny what Tan just said, but yeah. So that was actually used last week and right before a big thing in Chicago that I watched and got me hooked after somebody that I watched was off of that event or that thing for 7 years. He came back. Lots of people are happy, myself included. So inspired by it, I want to do some data on it. So anyway, I won't be vague much longer for it. So anyway, okay, we're approaching midnight here. I'll just kind of put a little wrapping thoughts here. So did we get the time zone stuff? Absolutely not. But I'm okay with that because we did some cool productive stuff anyway. Since shinycal is being used more often, I want to make it at least a little more presentable, and I think we did that by adding just a little bit of customization. I think that's it goes a long way. But let me recap some next steps I want with shinycal itself. First, giving a way for the user to apply to be included into it, because right now that's kind of on me to add their YAML data for that other repo I just showed. Second, this is actually a really geeky thing we can do. And it actually doesn't have much to do with Shiny itself. So a lot of us are on this very cool new Discord that Afton and has been spinning up for us. And Tan, you just released the tweet of that to the wild a couple days ago, and I'm really excited to be part of it. Now, of course, we got that nice bot that you all set up where you can hear about where you get notified if somebody goes live. That's awesome. Let me throw this out at you. What if we had a bot that you do a little command like !shinycal or something, and you get a tiny web view in Discord of the calendar? Would that be fun? The reason I think this is possible is because there was another Discord I was on where they had a bot that did it with Google Calendars. It would do like a mini view or a hyperlink to a Google Calendar, and then they would click it and they would get like the full view. So now here's the thing though. I don't know if I want to integrate it as the Shiny app proper, or if I want to integrate it as just the HTML widget, because Toast UI doesn't need Shiny. It just needs the widget. Okay, text or image, that's a good point. So obviously, I could go both ways with that. I think this Google Calendar thing did it as text, but then they had a hyperlink to get like, well, you might say the polished version of it. So I might be able to try something similar here. I have no idea. This is all just me throwing this off the cuff. But that would be super fun. And imagine it doesn't just work for Discord. Like, of course, we can do a Discord bot for it. Imagine we also have a Slack bot for it. Because if you've seen me do my stuff after a while, I love making sure that different parts of the community can have easy access to the things I do. And obviously the R for Data Science Slack group is huge now, with so many people wanting to learn more about R, helping people with R issues, as Tan has done immensely over the past years or so. Why not give them a quick way to see who's going to be streaming with shinycal? Exactly, you're right on my train of thought. The first step to make this happen is having a Plumber API at a minimum, because that would on demand call out the data as I need it. Because to be honest, that GitHub action that I showed you about a few minutes ago, that actually takes about 5 minutes to run. So it's not that quick. And I tried the caching thing, but it didn't quite work. Although I'm a little curious now, am I remembering that? Yeah, most of the runs on that GitHub action take about 6 minutes. So you can't expect people to wait that long to call a bot command. So it's got to be something that uses at least as close to the up-to-date data as possible in that AWS thing. But yeah, I think this could be kind of fun to design. Is it 100% useful? I'm not sure. But I've always wanted to try doing like a Plumber API that ties into a bot on another service, but it's using the same data as what I do in my Shiny app. I feel like there's some cool development stories that we can do with that. And is it geeky? Oh, absolutely it is. But why not? That's why I do these things, just to have fun with it. So, all right, midnight. I have to be up at 6:30 tomorrow. School's back in session with the kiddos, so I will have to set the alarm for that one. But I hope you all enjoyed this. Even though it wasn't that much technical we did, it's showing you a glimpse of what I do day to day. I try to do incremental wins along the way. And this is a heck of a lot more fun than the app, what I'll call open heart surgery I've had to do for my big app at work, where I've had to rip like over half of the modules apart because I forgot one thing that the user wanted to customize. So this was not that case here. So, okay. One quick heads up. I believe I will not be streaming next week at this usual time, because there is that kind of I forgot what to call it, but there's going to be that kind of solidarity Twitch day. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be streaming on Wednesday, so I want to make sure I move my stream to a different day. I don't know what that will be yet, but obviously I will update it, and shinycal will have the updated version when that happens. And I do want to beef up my little Discord channel on the streamer channel that we have. I haven't done a lot of customization for it yet, but I've got some things I want to do for it. So that'll probably be revealed next week when I get some time to do it. And as always, if you want to get in touch with me, the best way to do that is give me a shout on Twitter at the Arcast. You've been seeing that scroll here for the past few minutes. Definitely check out the back catalog of the Shiny Developer Series. I'll have the VOD of this on YouTube tomorrow or Friday, something like that. And be on the lookout. More interviews are coming. I've got one that I'm trying to schedule as we speak with somebody that was a winner from the Shiny contest. And maybe a fun interview with some cool techniques for learning Shiny. You know, a slightly different way than what Jesse's doing, but it's kind of similar, and I'll have some conversation about that as well. And please keep the suggestions coming. I've been doing the Shiny Cow stuff and some other things, but if there's like big topics that you'd like to see my take on or do an example of, I've got a backlog on my markdown notebook of ideas. Always happy to share those or add to that with new ideas. And I've got a lot, so stay tuned for that. All right, well, I've blabbered enough. Y'all have an awesome night. I will see you all on your various streams or hang out, other hangouts later. So bye for now. Thanks for being patient with me, and y'all have a great night. See you later. Bye-bye.